best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine?
You think you've seen the sun, but you ain't seen it shine.
Hello everyone, welcome once again to Ask the Trexperts, the show where we answer your questions about Star Trek. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Sarah.
Sarah, today's episode request comes from Magpie2541, one of our regular viewers, who asks us to talk about Conundrum. So we watched Conundrum again today, and we're going to talk a little bit about it. Sarah, this was not always one of your favorite episodes.
No.
What don't you dig about it?
Well, they take a not bad concept.
Sorry, I'm an idiot. 4-season, Next Generation, in case you don't know what we're talking about, Conundrum.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So it starts off with a bit of a high concept. Everybody loses their memories. It's a premise that can go places. It can go well, or it could flop.
You immediately have a chance, though, at shooting yourself in the foot, because it's really one of those, we need an idea this week, what's something we haven't done yet. Many of your shows will do. This is a bottle show.
It's a premise that's been overdone
yeah.
in other shows. And so they needed to bring something fresh and new, and I don't think they did.
Okay. Cool. Cool. but
yes, it is awesome that it sucks.
no. But, so that's your basic.
That's my basic feel of that episode.
I like a lot of things about it. I like the cinematography right out the gate. I dig. Again, we got a bottle show, so we're just dealing with standing sets. It's all on the ship. And immediately they do something kind of neat and interesting where everybody loses their memories in the teaser. And then I really like that Geordi looks at the camera and goes, "What the hell?" before you even know what's going on, right? Because you don't know they've lost their memories yet.
You know something's up because of him.
They have this kind of creepy string music in the background. And it's just like something just happened. They scanned us, and Geordi's just like, "What?" And I like that. And then they do this kind of over the shoulder shot where you see I think like Picard and Riker, and then this dude just standing there, and it's this guy who we find out is Commander Macduff. And
but at first you think he's just a random red shirt or something.
Unless you look close enough and you realize he's got 3 pips, and you're like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And if you know the show and you're paying attention, you're just like, well, he wasn't on the bridge. And then as the episode unfolds, you realize this guy's not supposed to be here, but he's doing a good job of pretending like he's in the same boat they are. And of course, he's the agent for the people who have done this to them, who are trying to get them to, fight this war for them and destroy some vastly inferior people to their own ship. They're trying to make the Enterprise think that the Federation is at war with this alien race who can't even defend themselves against.
Yeah, one photon torpedo would take their entire base.
Yeah. So I dug that about it.
Yeah.
I like the immediate what is going on.
The interesting thing about this episode is that I love the teaser. Like
the
you
teaser's
said,
the best
the
part.
teaser's great, and I like the last 5 minutes of it.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I like the part where Picard is going, these guys have no defenses. One torpedo would take them out. What are we doing here? And I kind of like that moment where they kind of put 2 and 2 together and figured it out. But the problem for me is the middle.
Okay.
It's just, it drags. My first problem is when they first discover that they've lost their memories and they don't have the crew manifest yet. And I just don't think it was realistic the way everyone fell into place. Data I thought was funny. He's the bartender, okay, that's funny.
Well, we gotta get him out of the way.
Yeah, but Worf stepping up into the command chair, even though he was obviously a tactical and he obviously only has 2 pips, what's the deal?
It's a concept that has a really difficult time being executed in this particular show. Because if you know you're military, you're in a military ranking system. I know Starfleet's not exactly military, but you're in that kind of structure, right? And you know how to do your job, but you don't know what everything is. But these people have their personalities intact, even though they don't know who they are, which means that they should have the same intelligence that they would normally.
Yeah.
So if Picard's got 4 pips and Worf has got 3 pips, or actually
Yeah,
he's even
2.
lieutenant commander at this
Yeah.
point, so he's got
Yeah,
2.5.
Yeah.
And he's standing behind Tactical,
Uh-huh.
and Picard and Riker are standing in front of their respective command chairs. He ought to be able to put 2 and 2 together and figure out, I'm not command.
Exactly, and especially since later on you could be like, oh well, maybe they don't know where the command chair
Or
is.
they're not paying attention to the pips.
Or whatever.
Whatever.
Okay, later on, Worf's not standing at Tactical commanding. He's sitting in Picard's chair where
Uh-huh.
Picard started out. What?
So
the
he
hell?
knows that's the captain's
Yes.
chair. He knows what the ready room is for.
Yeah.
Because Picard and Riker walk in and check in with him like he's the captain
Yeah.
in his ready room.
Yeah, but obviously I was standing at Tactical, so I must be the captain.
So
But,
that was
you
a
know.
little silly, and what they were trying to do, this is what worked and didn't work all at the same time. When the episode is working is when it's exploring the idea that these people's personalities are still intact, even though they don't know who they are. So they still have their experiences have still defined them, even though they don't remember anything about them, and that's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm okay
I
with
agree.
that. I think they should have gone farther with it, but whatever. It was kind of interesting. So Riker is still skirt chasing,
Yeah.
and Picard is still very domineering. Well, not domineering, but
Well,
but he's very much in charge.
He has
takes,
a very good leadership role.
Yeah.
He likes to step in.
He takes command, even though he doesn't know that he's supposed to be the captain.
And he steps in when people are coming up to Worf and he's trying to make decisions. He's not very good at it. Picard
Yeah.
steps in and says, "Oh, well, that's our next priority."
Yeah, let's pay a little more attention to what's exactly happening here. I know you just want to shoot things, but that's not what to do right
Exactly.
now. That kind of thing. Troy is still very much Troy, etc., etc. So
Yeah.
that's all working okay, but then it seems a little superficial with Worf, where it's just like,
Yeah.
well, Worf wants to be in command, and that's what he would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still kind of. I don't know. You said this was 4th season.
Yeah.
It's still sort of early Worf. You know,
Yes.
I mean, he hasn't been developed yet.
Not as much,
If
yeah.
this had happened 6th or 7th
If this had
season.
been DS9, it would have been quite interesting with
Yes.
Worf.
Yeah, if it had been, but even 6th or 7th season TNG, this would have been a much better episode, I think.
Yeah.
Because the characters would have been even more well-rounded out. But I am so glad that this wasn't even 3rd season crew trying to deal with this, because it just wouldn't have worked at all.
What do you think of the Ro-Riker thing?
I actually kind of liked it.
I kinda liked it, too.
I thought they had chemistry together, oddly enough.
Well, and what was really neat, that was probably the most fun thing about it, because in the teaser they're at each other's throats,
Yeah.
and then we find that at the core they have things in common.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
And you feel like they're only sort of enemies, really, or I guess at odds from each other, because Commander Riker's in charge and has to take that leadership role, and Ro, of course, rebels against all authority.
Ultimately, though, the premise is broken because it's a really contrived idea that this alien race would even think, let's go to the flagship of the Federation, send them this hail that breaks down everything and messes with their computers. We
really-
send over another person, and then we wipe all their memories, and all of this just to kill people that are pretty defenseless anyway.
Yeah, it's a very convoluted scheme.
If they're
And
able to do
they
all
need
that,
is a
why can't they
photon
just-
torpedo?
You're telling me they can't steal a single photon torpedo
Yeah.
to destroy this this little base?
Yeah.
That's really silly. And they need the flagship? I don't know, it's not
Yeah.
really working. Like the premise of let's make everybody lose their memories, more could have been done with it. They did Whedon did it with Angel, and it was hilarious,
Yeah.
and it was
Oh,
really
yeah.
it was really great. So I'm just saying, like, it can be done, but with this it was just really contrived.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, that stuff pops up on the black market in Star Trek and in Deep Space Nine anyway all the time.
Oh yeah, you're talking about photon torpedoes, yeah.
I mean, or worse weapons even. So, I don't know.
Well, what would you rate the episode?
Well, I'd say this episode was about average, or maybe just a little bit under, but I'd still give it a 2. I
Yeah.
liked the concept, but I think it just kind of fell flat, especially in the middle.
Just for the record, we don't talk about our ratings beforehand, so when we converge, it's not because we planned it. But yeah, I too I want to go for a 2 out of 4. It's enjoyable it's got its really enjoyable moments, and then overall it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of breaks down.
If
But
you
yeah,
think about it too hard, it doesn't work.
But yeah, it's an average episode for TNG. Everybody's bringing their A game. The acting is fine. I mean,
It is.
everybody,
And I do like the interaction among everybody. It's
Yeah.
just some of the things that they do are out of character.
the production quality is really good for a bottle show.
Yeah.
I'll certainly give it that.
Yeah.
And I just, as far as Picard is concerned, I just felt like this would have been a good moment for more Picard speeches, even though he doesn't have his memory. Like why isn't Picard earlier in the episode going, well, now wait just a minute. Why are we supposed to? Why should we even be entertaining the idea of fighting a war that we're not even sure we're on the right side of? Like, if you get amnesia like this, you have a second chance. Like, what if you're evil? What if you're all evil and you don't know it, and you're working for, or you're working for an evil organization?
Yeah.
What if you had a Nazi who lost his memory and had a chance to change? Just as an example, right?
Yeah, they have
so
a fresh perspective on whatever the situation they're in.
every side of a war thinks the other side is the bad guys,
Yeah.
and they don't have hardly any information on the ship. Conveniently, they're missing information. So it just seems to me like even Picard is a little, and he questions it, but I think even he and everybody else involved is a little too quick.
Yeah.
To even entertain the notion of let's go fire on these people
Yeah.
when we're not entirely sure who they are.
Yeah, although I will give the script props. As badly as they treated Worf at the beginning of that episode, he kind of he redeemed himself at the end by actually siding with Picard as opposed to the imposter.
Oh, to
commander.
Macduff, yeah.
Yeah, by not firing on them.
Who I think, by the way, I'll just say this really quick, did a really good job.
I think
because
he did.
seemed like a regular Starfleet guy.
He did,
like-
especially at first. Toward the end, he got less and less so because he was getting desperate.
Yeah,
But
and that's what happened.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
had a bit of your 5-minute wrap-up. You know,
Sure,
that kind of thing.
but no, I thought he was really good.
Well, thanks a lot for watching Ask the Trexperts. If you know this episode and you have any opinions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And also, if there's something you'd like us to talk about in a future video, or an episode or a movie you'd like us to review, feel free to leave that in the comments as well. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Sarah.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks.